Hey everybody, on a break at work, I'm hanging out at Walmart like I usually do when I have like these 2 hour gaps in my schedule at work. And I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. Like, I don't even remember how long. Going on 2 years, I think. Anyway, I want to talk about Hucks versus Casey's. I've worked at both. I worked at Hucks from 2002 to 2005, something like that. Anyway, I worked there for a while. I worked midnight shift primarily, but I would also work a day shift sometimes. And whenever they shut the midnight shift down, I would work. After the midnight was done, I'd work the evening shift. So I'm going to tell you what it was like working at Hucks, and then I'm going to tell you what it was like working at Casey's. Hucks was pretty laid back. First off, let's talk about the pay. It was a minimum wage job. I did it so that I could play in a minion, and it gave me the schedule I needed to play music. But the thing is, they would give you bonuses all the time just for being there. I think after 3 months, it was like $25. I think after a year, it was like 100 or something like that, or $90. I forget. They give you raises just for being there. If you passed your mystery shoppers, which, you know, that's people that come in and they shop and they secretly critique you and then send it in to the company. They gave you $25 on your check. I passed every one, so that was always a bonus. The Hucks, when you do like your drops and your drawers and all that, it's really easy. It's a lot easier than Casey's. When you do your safe drops and keeping track of your money and all that, way easier than Casey's. Ours had a Godfather's pizza in it, which a lot of them do now, but back then, we were one of the only ones. Might have been the only one. There might have been another one. I don't know. There wasn't very many then. We also had tanning beds. So you had to keep up with all that on top of, you know, the coffees and the sodas and all that. But it wasn't that bad. Even when it got really hectic for there, it wasn't really that, bad. Whenever they would discard the food, like the pizzas or the sandwiches. We also made subs in there too. That was uncommon at Hucks for the time. Anyway, when we discarded, we didn't have the fried chicken and all that. It was just subs and just smaller in the pizza and corn dogs, stuff like that. But when they discard it, you know, we could eat it, which was great because you knew you weren't going to go hungry on a shift. You'd eventually get some kind of free food. Instead of just tossing it away. I don't know if that was company policy or not, but the people in charge would let us do it. Had a really awesome, super awesome boss. So overall, the job itself wasn't too bad. The customers could get aggravated because at Hucks, and I've noticed this at other Hucks, they have the most white trash clientele of the two, hands down. They seem to place Hucks stores in these really bad areas of towns, or in like these really small, like trashy towns. And I'm not saying everybody in there is white trash, but because it's not the truth. But I'm just saying we got a lot of meth heads and shit like that on the overnight, to where we have to hide like the copper chore boy scrubber pads behind the counter and stuff like that. So anyway, overall, Hucks was a pretty pleasurable experience. You'll see 100% employee owned. I forget how they figure that up, but I think it's kind of a load of BS from what I remember, in a way. Anything else I was going to say about Hucks? Oh yeah, there was a lot of people that bought a lot of junk food on their link card. Now, I'm not bashing people that have link cards. I at one point was got to use one, but I bought actual food. But I mean, these people would tally. There'd be so many people coming in there that use link cards to buy candy. We could predict. A friend and I had a almost bulletproof system of how to predict someone was going to use a link card. I mean, we had several factors, and I'm not going to go into them right now. I did a radio interview about that one time. I posted on YouTube, and people were so offended by it. So I'm not going to go into how I can tell if someone's going to use a link card or not. Some people would fool you. You wouldn't think they would, and they did, or they wouldn't, or they use one, and I'm jumbling words. Anyway, it was like, I'm talking about like a solid 90% accuracy rate. Let's move on to Casey's. Okay, I lost my job of 9 years. I was desperate trying to find a job, so I ended up at Casey's. I'm like, okay, this is, better than nothing. And I know people seem to move up the chain there fast. I'm like, this might not be that bad. Well, it was. The shifts were horrible. Up the Wi-Fi. If you get a little bit of a discount on food, or like half off, I think is some of the stuff. But they just waste food. They just throw it away. No one can have it. You just like write it off and toss it. That's pretty wasteful. When it was coming down to keeping track of your money and your safe drops on the register, that was like a nightmare. I never fully grasped it. Then again, I am terrible in math. Just horrible in math. So I mean, I never could get that. Casey's. What else? It was way more chaotic to keep up with, like by far more than Hucks, because I mean they wanted you to keep up with, just everything going on. It was just, I can't even tell the words. It was chaotic. They expected you to always be doing something. Now Hucks, I had a cleaning routine on my shift down pat. I could get that whole store clean in an hour if I wanted to. And at one point, we had a table in the back that was an I the register. You used to back there and smoke and stuff at Hucks back then before they stopped all the smoking and building things. And, it was just really lax. Hucks was very lax environment. Had a lot of good people. Casey's, they wanted you to be doing something nonstop, and there was not always something to be done. So that really sucked. Now I eventually got stuck in the back making the donuts and all that. And that was an all-night shift at first. And they cut it back from 3 in the morning to whatever time. But anyway, those donuts, trying to get all that crap done was like an all-night process, and it sucked. It was way too much for shitty minimum wage. And that's my point in general about Casey's, is they wanted you to basically destroy yourself for minimum wage. And it was just by far too much work for such little pay, and it was just kind of a crappy environment. And another thing I want to point out is Hucks has way better food than Casey's. Casey's, well, the pizza's debatable. Godfather's versus Casey's. I haven't had a piece of Casey's pizza in so long, I don't remember what it's like. But when you go and buy those big chicken strips at Casey's, that's just Tyson chicken strips like you buy at Walmart. They've got their little breakfast sandwiches and shit. Hucks has fried chicken and all kinds of good big breakfast burritos and all kinds of stuff. I mean, if you're gonna eat, go to one of the bigger Hucks stores. They blow Casey's out of the water. Casey's, you didn't get any kind of bonus for passing a mystery shop. You basically got a good, got a thing tacked up on the wall that said you passed and a good job. You got an attaboy for it. So, so there was no bonuses just for being there. I wasn't there long enough to get a raise. It sucked. I finally got a job at Dillard's, something that paid okay. But Casey's was just something to get me by. I was drawing unemployment and working. I did that actually for a while. I almost had a mini summer vacation because I worked minimal hours and drew unemployment, and I basically just kind of had some Casey. But yeah, all I can say was Casey's was a living hell. The one thing I regret not doing at Casey's is there's a new girl that started, and I didn't have anything against her, but she was working in the back making donuts one night, and I was running register, and there's a crowd of people, and I was like, man, I even told her, I said, what would be funny is if I just left and made you run both this, and she was like, that wouldn't be funny. And as mean as it is, I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have just waited for that store to be packed and then just bolted. And I'll tell you why. Because I started getting accused for a bunch of shit I wasn't doing. They were saying I was sitting in the office and all this stuff. And I think I even said, watch the videos, watch the surveillance. Because there was cameras all over that place. But they wouldn't do it. For whatever reason, they just started had this thing against me for some reason. And, which is fine. Because I ended up not caring. There was a lot of people I liked there, but there was some I didn't care for as much. But anyway, I guess if you're going to work at a gas station, I'd pick Hucks 100 times over. You're going to make more money. It's just a better work environment, and I don't know. That's about that's I don't know. That's basically the two main points of it. I don't know what it's like now that Hucks has expanded and have so much more food, but I remember juggling pizzas and sandwiches and running tanning beds and stuff on top of the register, and plus it just wasn't bad. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. That's a video I've been wanting to make for a long time. So I'm very pro Hucks, and Casey's can suck it.